Imagine waking up each morning, believing you are free, believing your opinions, your choices, your ideas are truly yours. But every thought, every reaction, every fear you carry was planted. Carefully, quietly, deliberately. You don't need chains to be enslaved. You don't need walls or fences. You only need control of the mind. Today we expose how modern media manipulates millions without them ever realizing it. This is VeriDark. Stay curious, stay awake. What you hear once, you may question. What you hear 100 times, you start to believe. This is the illusory truth effect. Psychologists discovered that the more often a statement is repeated, the more familiar it feels. And the more familiar it feels, the more true it seems, even if it's a complete lie. Repetition doesn't need logic. It bypasses the thinking brain altogether. It makes the unbelievable feel obvious. The same slogan, the same fear, the same promise, repeated across every screen, every speaker, every conversation, until it doesn't sound strange anymore, until it sounds like common sense. It's not just advertisers who understand this. It's politicians, it's corporations, it's governments, it's movements. They don't argue with you. They don't try to win your mind. They program you, quietly, relentlessly, until you forget that there was ever a question, until their idea feels like your own. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a weapon. When fear takes hold of the mind, rational thought becomes a casualty. Psychologists call this amygdala hijacking, where the emotional brain seizes control, overriding logic, reason, and reflection. Fear shrinks the world, reducing complex realities into simple reactions. Fight, flight, freeze. Throughout history, leaders, movements, and media empires have wielded fear like a blade. Fear of enemies, fear of change, fear of each other. Because when people are afraid, they obey. They stop asking questions. They stop analyzing facts. They cling to authority. They crave protection. The more you are made to fear, the easier you are to control. Mass media knows this. Politicians know this. Corporations know this. Fear is the shortcut to obedience. And in a society saturated with fear, truth becomes irrelevant. Only survival matters. In the modern world, we are surrounded by choices. 1,000 television channels, 1 million websites, endless apps, infinite products, countless opinions. It feels like freedom. It feels like control. But freedom of choice is not the same as freedom of thought. Psychologists call it choice overload, the paralyzing effect when too many options flood the brain. Instead of liberating us, an overabundance of choices blinds us. Overwhelmed, we revert to shortcuts. Brand loyalty, authority trust, popular trends, social proof. And behind the glittering surface of choice, the pathways have already been narrowed. Algorithms nudge you, recommendations guide you, advertisements whisper in your ear. You were never meant to explore all options. You were meant to be funneled, steered, herded toward pre-selected outcomes. Freedom feels real because the cage is so vast you can't see its edges. Every click, every swipe, every view feeds back into the system, teaching it how better to guide you next time. Not based on what you want, but based on what you can be sold, what you can be taught, what you can be made to believe. The illusion of choice is the perfect trap, because those inside it fight to defend it. They call it freedom, they call it progress, they call it life. But it is only life within walls. Walls built from comfort, convenience, and complacency. You choose, but only from the options you are given. The battleground has shifted. Once power was measured in land, in armies, in weapons. Now it is measured in information. Control the information, and you control the mind. Today's wars are not fought with bombs alone. They are fought with narratives, memes, stories, and screens. Reality is no longer discovered. It is manufactured. One feed at a time, one headline at a time, one image, one frame, one whisper, repeated across 1,000 channels. And it works. Because the human mind was never built for the scale of modern manipulation. Our ancestors lived in tribes of hundreds. Our brains evolved for intimacy, for survival, for trust among the few. Now we are exposed to millions of voices every day, each one competing for attention, each one reshaping the boundaries of what we think is true. In the chaos, truth itself becomes fragmented, personalized, tailored to suit belief rather than challenge it. Two people can look at the same event and live in entirely different realities because they are not seeing the event, they are seeing the story built around it. The mind craves meaning, and when meaning is manufactured, reality bends. In a world drowning in information, ignorance is not the absence of facts. It is the absence of trust. And when trust collapses, everything else follows. The new reality is not made of stone or steel. It is made of screens. It is made of narratives. It is made of carefully planted ideas. And most terrifying of all, it feels normal. It feels like home. You are not helpless. You can still see the strings if you dare to look. Most people won't. Most people can't. Because once you see the strings, you can't unsee them. Once you recognize the patterns, the world will never feel the same again. It is easier to stay asleep. It is easier to obey. It is easier to believe what is convenient. But the easier path always has a cost. Awareness is not easy. Awareness is not safe, but it is freedom. True freedom doesn't come from choosing between pre-approved options. It comes from stepping outside the maze altogether. It comes from questioning the unquestionable, from doubting the obvious, from resisting the invisible pressures that shape the mind. You will be called paranoid. You will be called cynical. You will be called dangerous. Wear it as a badge of honor, because only those who dare to see can ever hope to be free. Stay curious. Stay awake. This is VeriDark.